welcome back to a great episode of hashtag Screw the W2. And now this will be a little bit of a interesting detour from the previous shows I've done. If you're watching this, you'll notice there's two people on the screen, not just one. So it's actually a couple I've met a number of years ago. Had a very interesting Screw the W2 story. So I wanted to have them both on. We talked off camera. I think Flip will be doing most of the talking, but we will just see how this conversation goes.
Sounds awesome. Thank you for having us, John.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Now, I know, Danny, you kind of joked as Flip kind of followed you around, but you kind of had a similar, worked in the same industry, followed each other around, if you will. But maybe, Flip, if you want to take this, what was your previous, W-2 job, the journey, and what was like a typical day for you when you had that W-2 job?
Well, so our W-2 job was not like anyone else's normal W-2 job. Like you had said, we followed each other, but actually I was the follower because I was always one step behind Danny. We both moved to Florida. We both worked at Disney. We both started working on cruise ships. I was always one step behind her. Everyone kept asking me if I knew who she was. I'd never met her. I didn't know who she was whatsoever, and she'd never heard of me until a hurricane went into the Caribbean, and both of our ships met actually. Her whole band came over to my ship, and they actually listened to us because back then we were both musicians. And okay. So that was when we finally actually met. I was running. I think it was September. It was probably 100 degrees in Nassau, Bahamas, and I was in a full tuxedo running down the pier, yelling, Danielle, Danielle, Danielle. Of course, she had no idea who I was. So that's how we met, actually. And then we ended up working together, and as trumpet players, we transitioned on cruise ships to selling artwork. They have art auctions on cruise ships, and we had done that for a number of years, and we were actually promoted to do that instead of on cruise ships. We did it on land, and that was our W-2 job, and we worked for an art gallery, and we could live anywhere in the United States as long as we were close to an airport, because they were flying us somewhere every other week to sell artwork. And it was a pretty free W-2 job. So it wasn't a 9 to 5 where, we're walking in, checking, doing the time card at 9 o'clock, and then we were out at 5. We ran our own schedule, but yet there was people over top of us that were making sure that no matter what we did, it wasn't enough. And they were kind of, like Danny said, putting their thumb on us. And,
why aren't you working 27 hours in a day? You know what?
Yeah, that was it really was that, it was, no matter what we did, we could have a great week. It was, what have you done for me lately? If we had a bad week, it was, oh my gosh, why are you still with this company? And so it wasn't a very healthy experience or a healthy environment. And it was, but so an average day was really, we woke up and we worked. And because, we just worked out of our house, we don't have any kids. It would be nonstop work from morning to night. And we had offices in our house, but we just worked everywhere in our house. So there was no room that we would escape to like get away from work. It was 24/7 working for this company.
Wow. Okay. Now I'm guessing there's a few listeners out there, on the road salesmen or, telemarketers or work from home and just, feel that grind, like you said, working 24/7, just constantly, what are you doing this week? What's up with this bad week last week? But was there and whoever wants to take this one, was there any one pivotal moment that just really stood out like, yep, this is not going to work. We can't do this the rest of our lives, or we got to look for an exit?
Yeah, actually, well, sorry, you want to hit this one?
Yeah, I was going to hit the first part of it because you reminded me today what the one pivotal moment was. So it was a lot of travel. So when we were
Okay.
home, we were calling, what we call our VIPs, and
Okay.
we were talking to them. Hey, we're going to be in town. We're going to serve dinner. We would do a steak and lobster dinner prior to the art auction. And so we'd work all week and then fly out, go, reserve the hotel, put up all the artwork, and just be there, with the guests that attended that art auction. And that travel just got really, really tiring, after a while. It's like, okay, I don't want to get on another plane again. And we just didn't have control, right? Because we had to do a certain number of, of art auctions. And it was very hard for us to plan anything for us personally, because they could just call us and tell us they need us for any given reason. And this actually, as we were talking about being on this podcast today with you, I said, hey, Flip, what was that trigger? What was it for us that just kind of said, that's it, we're not going to do this anymore? So Flip, I'll let you take that over.
Yeah, it was, we had actually planned for like months a trip with actually other people that work for the same company. And we'd been talking about it, because we had planned the trip already, and we've been talking about it. We're super excited about it. And about maybe a week or two before we were going to be going on this trip, the company decided to have a meeting at the company, which doesn't happen very often. And it was a very last minute meeting. And we said, well, we already have plans, and they're like, we don't care. You have to be here. This is your job. Do you want your job? You have to be here. And there was no, oh, okay, well, let's work this out, or nothing. There was no,
maybe we'll send you a Zoom link. The rest of the people will be there, or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, granted, this was like a couple decades ago, so this was before
Zoom era,
but still.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
that was the pivotal moment. It was, you can't go take this vacation, do something that you'd already paid for, already planned,
right,
or you're going to be fired. And that was our livelihood. So that's when we really realized, hey, there's other people in control of our lives, and that's not okay.
Well, and just like you mentioned, there's just like no sympathy. Like, okay, if it was truly I don't know, we need everyone there because we need people to vote because I don't know, we're going private or something that truly was important. It's like, hey, we understand, here's a $6,000 stipend to take your trip another time. At least there's a little compassion there, I guess. This is just more like, we don't care what you're doing. It's like, park your ass there and you're gonna show up.
Right.
Yep.
So
yeah, you're exactly right.
So I'm guessing from your conversation, I'm guessing you didn't take that vacation or trip you had planned. Then you had to change everything.
Yep, we had to cancel everything.
Jeez, full refund?
Yeah, who knows? I don't even know what the meeting was about either. That shows how important that was.
That important. Wow. So
yeah.
Excuse me. So when you had that realization, that pivotal point, and you mentioned, you said, okay, this isn't going to work. What was your plan of action then? Obviously you made into real estate later, but what was your plan from that point to exit that W-2? And then how long did that take?
Well, it's funny. I'll let Danny come in here in a second, but I kind of realized this, and I had thought about it in a very long time. I don't know if it was the travel that made Danny want to quit, or if it was wanting a dog, because we had spent so many years working on cruise ships and flying all the time, and it was, we were never home. I mean, in fact, just for us to get married, it took a whole army of people just to make it happen within a month, because we never were anywhere long periods of time. And so I don't know what came first, the dog or the transition, but I'll let her take it from here.
Yeah, so I think it was a plane ride home, and there was a picture of a golden retriever in a dog bed in those travel magazines you have on the
yeah.
And I was like, puppy, which made me realize we can't travel.
Right.
So that kind of turned into a conversation over the next probably couple weeks, and we strategized that I could stop first because he was the art auctioneer. I was just one of the team members that supported the art auctioneer. So I would do a lot of the planning. I would help find the artwork to put it up on stage while he did his magic up on stage. And so he was more integral to the career that we had created with that company than I was. I was just a supporting character. So it was easy for me to kind of transition out. And so I did. And my plan was to try 3 different careers next to see which one I liked, because whatever we chose, we wanted to love it. So the very first one I tried was securities. So I went and got a job at New York Life to be able to sell insurance, whole life insurance, and mutual funds. And it was okay. I mean, I was there probably a year. I think I gave every career choice. Yes, I gave it exactly a year, each one. And it was okay. I was doing good, but I just wasn't passionate about it. So I said, okay. My second choice was the mortgage industry. I love numbers. I love financials. So this is all about tying together, right? And so as I learned the mortgage industry, gave that a chance for a year and didn't like it. It was worse than being in the securities world. I was just like, okay, this was a downgrade, not an upgrade. And so that's when real estate was our third choice. And I said, okay,
third time's the charm.
Yeah. So, and at this point in time, it had been 2 years and we had saved a good amount of money, way more than you would need for a cushion. And so he decided that he was going to stop as well. And we both got our realtor's license at the same time in September of 2008. And that's another story.
Interesting time to get into real estate. And although there's probably some millennials like, what's happened in 08? I was in second grade or something, and they don't know what's going on. So, all right. So then you had that, had the pivotal moments. So then by September 2008, then both of you had exited, or was that just you, Danny, and then Flip after that, or?
No, we both jumped in with both feet at that point. It was like she was by far exited. And then for me at that point, it was starting to go down anyway. And I was just like, I'm out of here. It was too much. I just couldn't take it anymore. And that's why we said, we're doing real estate. We both went in, we went in running like gangbusters into getting our realtor's license. And like she said, September 2008, we got our realtor's license and we're like, all right, now what?
Okay. So all right. And now with that, and obviously we're about 15 years since then. You kind of shared the ugly side of the W-2 and the pressure and unsympathetic bosses, if you will. But is there anything you do miss or do regret, looking back from those W-2 days that you wish you had again? This is kind of directed to both of you, or has there been no regrets ever since that 15 years?
Zero. Yeah. She asked me that question earlier and I couldn't have said zero fast enough.
-1, how far on the scale can we go?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, for sure, even with the realtor journey, because we started in 2008, we tell this story a lot. I mean, it took us 8 months to close our first deal, and we were just burning through all of our savings, right? Because this was an unknown market. We didn't know what was going on. We just entered ourselves into the real estate world. But still, that journey led us to where we are today with 6 going on 7 companies. So when we think about it, it's like, maybe back then there might have been regrets, like a security. We might have said security, a paycheck. We probably
one of the golden handcuffs they talk about.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm sure a different frame of mind in our lives at that point in time, we would have probably been scared and had some fear of it taking this long. But we're so grateful of the grit and tenacity that we had and the determination to just say, hey, we didn't like that life. We're not going back, and we're going to figure out how to make this one happen. So.
All right. Now on the no pun intended here, but on the flip side of this, what's been the best part of your journey now that we're at, a decade and a half that you said, screw the W-2, got into real estate, and now have 7 companies under your belt?
Well, we always talk about the multiple forms of freedom. And so when we were going through, we were thinking about this question. Everything that I kept thinking about always came back to freedom. Time freedom, because we work on our own schedule.
Yeah.
If we're like, what, tomorrow morning I'm not working till 10, I'm going to get up and I'm going to work out. It's we have that time freedom. We have geography freedom because now we're both in Florida, running the
Hmm.
companies that are in Ohio. We have just a financial freedom. We're living in Florida and our company's in Ohio.
Yeah.
So, but everything that I kept thinking about, what are my, what's the best thing? Everything kept coming back to the word freedom.
Yeah. No, I can definitely attest to that. Just, I said time, money, and geography freedom. And then I'm guessing if you decide tomorrow, let's take a trip here, unless you, I don't know, have split personalities and say, no, you're not going. You don't have to worry about getting a trip tonight, I'm guessing.
Correct. Yes. There's been time where, even in our companies, we would just say, hey guys, we're taking off. We've been
Yeah.
working nonstop. This is our do not disturb.
Yeah.
We built this team for a reason so we could do this. So
Yeah.
unless the company's burned down, do not call us.
Yeah. Well, it isn't burned down, but we got a flood starting. Who knows what the cutoff is. So. Now, and I'm not sure if anyone wants to particularly take this question. For any listener out there or viewer of this that maybe finds themselves in a similar situation, just working nonstop, 24/7, no time freedom, no money freedom, no geography freedom, and they're just really tired of their job, but for whatever reason they feel stuck. The paycheck, the benefits, the daycare, whatever the case may be. What advice would you give them to, for lack of a better description, take that leap of faith to leave the safe and secure job, quote unquote, to the unknown?
Yeah, so I'm going to start this one off and let Flip take it over. We talk about this a lot when we're out speaking at events. And it comes down to some of the mistakes that we made in our journey to where we are today. And one of them was we didn't design our lifestyle first. We designed our business and then we figured out how to live around our business, which, meant we were working, nonstop, and meant that our health and our personal lives took a back seat to the business. So we tell everybody if we were going to go back and start again, we would design our lifestyle first, and then we would figure out how business works within the lifestyle that we want to have. So what I mean by that is, are your kids important? Are going to their games important? Is travel important? What is it? What do you want your life to look like? Because literally in today's day and age, you can do anything from almost anywhere.
Yeah.
So if you figure out what that is that you want and you write it down, in my personal life, I want these things. In my, in my family's life, for my spouse, for my kids, and you have these boxes. We actually created a worksheet we're going to start taking out and giving to people and say, fill out these boxes. What does it look like? Think of you first. And if you design that lifestyle and then go to conferences or listen to podcasts or start networking with other people and say, hey, John, what do you do for a living? And does this offer you the time freedom to go to your kids' games if that was in your box? Does this offer you the time to be able to travel when you want to? And if John, you said yes to all the things that were on my sheet of paper, I'd be asking you more about what you're doing and how you got there, right? Because I want to model your lifestyle and how you got there, because it's exactly what I want, because I focused on me and my lifestyle first. So that's our first piece of advice, just from us not doing it that way and figuring it out way later. But Flip will speak to the points that really I think are tried and true that you have to think of every single day in order to ensure you're going to succeed.
Okay.
So one of the things after we spent that 8 months and getting our first deal, when we went into doing real estate investing, we actually hired a mentor and he taught us all these different ways. And we actually took what he said and we actually did it. And it was one of the things that, because it was just instinctive, we just did it. It was, he said to do this, so we should go do it. And we did it. And he said, you're like one of the few people that actually do everything that I say. And we started to become successful because of it. And it really taught us, it was always take that first step and to never give up. And everyone who is an entrepreneur, somebody at some point is going to tell you to read the book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Well, I can remember right where I was when I read it the very first time, and I read the story 3 Feet from Gold, which is now its own book and it's a movie and, and whatnot. But that story, 3 Feet from Gold, hit me like a ton of bricks, and it was something that I never forget that. And because of that, I will never give up. I will never stop. I will not, I will not say, you know what, we've tried. That was the closest we're going to get. No, we're Danny and I will always go the next step. We will, or the next 10 steps. And we are not giving up. And so the taking the first step, not giving up, and always remembering that, that 3 Feet from Gold story, which I won't get into the whole story now, but that's your homework.
Sure. That makes sense. Yeah. I think I don't remember verbatim, but Robert Kiyosaki always put it like, how would the toddler feel if the first time they try to take a step and they fall down, they're like, oh, this just isn't good for me. I'm just going to keep crawling the rest of my life. But they try, they get up, they fall, they tumble, they hit their head. And that's how we end up walking, and it becomes second nature. But it seems like when we're adults, school system, whatnot, it's just like, oh, you failed at this. Well, you tried, it's like, well, no, keep trying and keep trying until you're successful. But that's another topic for another day. But I just kind of always like that analogy of they told every toddler, it's like, nope, you tried standing and you failed. Walking is just not in it for you. You got to crawl the rest of your life. So.
I love that story. I heard that one too. I love it. And Flip even has a sign behind him that says it's really hard to beat the person who never gives up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as we close this out, and this will be a little bit different if you both want to take it, or any topics that come to mind, I've started calling this the hashtag unscrewed moment. If there's anything you want to share with my listeners, what you're excited about, in the days, weeks, months coming out, or any new offerings or summits or whatever, floor is yours. And Flip's already, for those that can't see this, Flip's already pointing at Danny to do the talking. So
yeah, we have so much going on in 2023. We're launching 4 funds. We're launching our 7th company, a hard money lending company. We have a book coming out, a course coming out. We rebranded our entire family of companies to freedomfamilyinvestments.com. And we put our turnkey and funds and private money lending, all of it in one house, because so many times, like, we were just scattered everywhere, and we wanted to show investors, hey, if you want to know everything we do, we finally have one website to do it. So just improving, everything that we're doing, because what we're passionate about is taking people along the journey with us, because we've wanted this time freedom, we've wanted this geography freedom, the financial freedom, and as we go there, it's really fun to say, hey, you still are in your job, come with us, we'll help you get there so that you can, live a life that you desire to live as well.
Exactly. Cool. So, all right. And for those that didn't catch it, check out Freedom Family Investments, for all their businesses, from turnkey providers to maybe by the time you're listening to this, hard money lending, but then also funds and everything that they do in regards to real estate. So, Flip and Danny, it's been great to catch up again. And thanks for joining us on an episode of hashtag Screw the W2.
Thank you so much, John. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.